I just picked up this old Benz here that's been sitting for quite a few years, and it has a lot of problems. But one of the things I'm really concerned about is whether or not the brake calipers are sticking. You got to remember, sticking brake calipers, they are a real problem on these older Benzes, especially if they've sat around for more than 6 months to a year. And sticking brakes can cause all kinds of problems. I have actually seen an old Benz catch fire because of sticking brake calipers. The rotors got so hot, they got red hot, they caught the grease on fire on the front end, and there was actually flames coming out above the tire. Now that can be scary. On the lighter side, you're just going to wear out brake rotors and brake pads if the calipers are not releasing properly. So in this video, I just want to show you a couple tips on how I check for sticking brake calipers. The first thing I'm going to do is jack up one or two of the tires and check each individual wheel to see whether or not it's releasing properly after I press the brake pedal. You can also drive the car and come out and put your hand on each wheel. And if you have a sticking brake caliper, you're going to feel a hot wheel, and that's the one you're going to want to take a look at. So I'm going to start at the back end. I'm going to move back there. We're going to jack up the back of the car and check the two rear brake calipers first. I've rolled my heavy-duty floor jack under the rear of the car and gotten the head of it right underneath that rear differential housing. I'm going to go ahead and jack up the rear of the car. I'm only going to raise it just enough to get both rear tires off the ground. I don't need to go any higher than that. Since I'm not going to be working under the car or getting under the car, I'm not going to worry about jack stands at this point. So I will come forward and let's see if these tires rotate. Yep, this one moves, but it is dragging. It's probably dragging a little bit more than I'd like to see. Now I'll move over to the right side and push this tire, and it's spinning freely. This one feels much better. So the next step is to move up inside the car. Now I'm going to engage the brakes. And I'm getting into the car because I want to exert some real force on this brake pedal. I'm going to push hard on it and even release it and pump a couple times. And I'm going to push this thing just as hard as I can, almost all the way to the floor, and then I'll release it. Now let's go back and recheck those rear wheels. I'm going to put my hand on the top of the wheel and just give it a light push. Notice it's not even moving. I'm going to give it a little bit of a harder push. Now it'll start to break free. And if you move it enough, it will eventually rotate and you can feel the caliper start to release. Let's see how that compares to the right rear tire. I'm going to use the same amount of exertion that I used on the other side. I'll just put my hand right there and just give it a light push. Notice that it immediately moved. And that's a very good indication that this particular caliper is releasing properly, and we don't have a problem on this one. What causes sticking brakes? It can be a couple of things. Primary reason is corroded or rusty brake calipers that have sat for a long time or have had infrequent brake fluid changes. The other problem is the rubber flexible brake hoses. These things can rot internally and actually collapse, and they restrict the backflow of the brake fluid after you release the brakes. So I recommend if you're having this type of problem on your car, you always replace all of the 4 rubber flexible brake hoses anytime you're doing some caliper replacement. If you find this is a problem on your car, we carry all these parts on our website as well as instructions on how to replace them yourself. Just go to my website and put in brakes, brake rotors, brake calipers in the search box to find the parts quickly. Oh, wow, I'm getting too old for this. You could probably tell in that last scene that jacking the car up. You know, maybe it's time to retire. I think I'm getting over the hill here.